Do it. Welcome to SpellCast, the Gaming Wizards podcast. I tried to make John do the intro, and he didn't say anything.
I was about to say it, and then you're just like, do it. And I lost it. Like, I couldn't... The worst part is, like, I haven't even seen those episodes of Game Grumps, and, like, I still... Like, I get the joke, and I know what the, like, joke is about, and it's like, it still gets me, even though I haven't seen those.
Yeah. It's like, probably one of my favorite inside jokes of it. Like, not an inside joke, but, like, thing that they've done.
Yeah, what series was that from?
The Do It joke was one of the Mario Party games. Like,
okay.
They did I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Like, I think they've done it other times.
But that was like
where that was
originated.
where, like, you probably saw, like, the animation or whatever.
Okay.
If you did, that's probably what the one that it was from.
Okay. Means I gotta go watch them play Mario Party.
Yeah, like, it was one of the more recent ones. Like, I'm not sure. I forget which one it was, but yeah, Mario Party.
I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Wow. We're off discussion track already.
Yeah, no.
Like,
so, you want to talk about, like, good games or favorite games?
Yeah, like, we were just going to use that as a starting point. Just like, we should talk about, I don't know, our favorite games or whatever.
Yeah,
and then
or
we're talking
games
about,
that are just generally really good.
And then we started off by talking about Game Grumps.
I mean, it's your fault.
I know, I'm sorry. For once, the conversation derailment is my fault.
And it was before we even started the conversation.
At least it was still relevant to gaming and not cannibalism.
Okay. You that may be fair. That you may have a point. Maybe. No guarantees.
Alright, so top 5, we'll say.
Top
if
5.
you can think of 5.
Yeah, no, I probably could. It's just like I could think of more than 5 and like condensing it down to like top 5. But
see, I'm not even sure I can think of 5 that I consider worthy of being like just these are the pinnacle of games that I think are awesome.
Yeah.
Versus, yeah, I like that one because, you know, I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's just, you know, whatever.
There's a lot of games that I feel like they really belong in my top 5 because of it's so easy for me to go back to them and like completely replay through them. Like, there's games that I enjoy, like Final Fantasy VII. I really enjoyed that game, but I can't replay it. Like, I go back, I don't even finish disc 1. I'm like, I'll
like,
go play something else.
RPGs in general, I think, are just kind of hard to
Well, but see, that's the thing.
get into.
Final Fantasy Tactics, I've beaten that game 5 times. I keep going back to it. I have a file where I have de-leveled and re-leveled a character to min-max his stats so many times that he takes 5 turns before anyone else takes a turn. Like, that's probably my number 1.
When you played FF7 and gave up on it last time, what were you playing it on?
Well, when I picked up the Steam version,
Uh-huh.
I did play it for a little bit, just to, like, play the Steam version, basically.
But you were playing it, like... Because, like, I kind of realized something, because there was a Reddit post a while ago that I kind of was participating in, and it was, like, games that you... I forget exactly what it was. It's, like, games that you like, but gave up on or something like that. I forget exactly what the context was, but I mentioned how, like, I try to play a lot of RPGs and just never end up finishing them or give up on them. And I came to a realization, because, like, I mentioned... It's not that I don't like RPGs, because I like Chrono Trigger. I've played through that, like, at least half a dozen times.
Right.
I liked FF7, and I own, like, 5 Pokemon games, and those are RPGs. So it's not that I don't like RPGs, but then I realized, wait, the last time I played FF7 was on my PSP. Last time all those times I played through Chrono Trigger, except the very first time I played through it, it was on the DS version. And all the Pokemon games are all on handheld consoles. It's not that I don't like RPGs, it's like I don't like console RPGs. Because with a handheld system, I can just pick it up wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, play it for like 10 minutes, and then put it down, still be where I am. Whereas with a console, you have to like decide, I want to sit in front of a TV for an hour. And not do anything else, really.
Fair. I actually have the opposite problem. Like, I find it easier to sit down in front of the computer or in front of a console and just play a game. Whereas, like, with handhelds, like, I have so many handhelds I want to play, but I haven't finished even, like, a percentage of any of them because I have a hard time focusing on it. Because it's like, yeah, I could play this little handheld game, or I could have a bigger screen with, like, you know, better field of view and stuff by just going on my computer. So, like, the only time I really play handhelds is, like, if I'm, like, out in public, and it's just like, well, I have this with me, I can play it for a little bit, like, on break or whatever.
Yeah. But,
yeah, I actually have the opposite problem.
Well, I mean, it's a personal thing, I guess, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I gave up on FF13 for obvious reasons.
Well, I mean, I don't blame you.
Yeah. I borrowed 8 Ant Tactics from you and gave them back without finishing them. And I've restarted Earthbound, like, twice and never gotten very far. I mean, I got further the second time, but I still... Like, if I want to go back, I'm going to have to restart it again, because I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And I started playing Chrono Cross twice, and gave up on it both times. And I think I did get further the second time, but still, I mean... Now that it's a candidate for Gaming Wizards, it's like, I might as well not.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, those were all, like, console games, or emulated console games, or whatever, where I would have to sit in front of a screen for an hour or two to actually do anything in them. And I just like the handheld idea of, I can carry this around in my pocket, and whenever I'm not doing something important, I can just pull it out, and like, oh, you know, I'll make, like, 10 minutes of progress here, 10 minutes of progress there, and before I know it, I've beaten the game.
Fair.
Several times in the case of Chrono Trigger. But, I mean, it's not like to get every ending you have to play through the entire game every time, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, I probably haven't played through it as many times as I think. I just know I got all the endings on the DS version because it keeps track.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, my number one's probably Tactics, just because I love that game. Great story. I love the way it plays, because, yeah, it's a turn-based RPG, but it's more in depth. It's not just like choose attack from menu and like watch them do whatever. Like there's actually strategy and depth to the game, and I really like that. I think it's part of why when I played XCOM on Steam, I got really into that game for like 3 weeks. I put like all my time into it, and then like I haven't touched it since because like I destroyed that game. But that game's really hard on hard mode. But
well, I would hope so. If it was easy on hard mode, I'd want my money back.
Hard mode's fucking brutal, dude. You are going to lose people left and right if you are not super careful. But, so what would you say, like, your number one would be?
See, that's the problem.
You don't know how to quantify them?
Yeah, like, I can give you a list of, like, 3 to 5 games that I really like, but not in a particular order.
Okay.
Because I like a lot of them for different things. They'll have things in common, but there's no one that I would say is the best.
Well, what? Like, just choose one and start with that.
I really want to put Oddworld near the top of the list, like Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exodus. Not so much the third one, because it was really different, not necessarily in a bad way, but it kind of had that this was clearly a 2D game trying to translate into a 3D universe, and it doesn't really work all that well.
And which one was the third one?
That's Munch's Odyssey.
Okay.
It was like a launch title for the Xbox, I think.
Yeah. I was curious which one the third one was.
Yeah, they released the version for Steam a few years ago that I eventually got, and I was like, I want to like this, but I can't. I like the characters, I like the dialogue and everything. It's got Oddworld's like signature stuff in it. The game mechanics just don't do it for me, unfortunately. And they made a lot of things difficult that I didn't particularly care for. But yeah, the first two, Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exodus, I like them. Like, it's platforming, it's kind of... Have you seen Another World or Out of This World? Like, gameplay, like any of that?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that sort of style where... Like, you feel like the character in the animation in general just, like, has weight. Like, they can do things.
Right.
It's not, like, pre-scripted animation. It's like every step feels like a step. So I like the animation, and then it's really difficult to do it right. Like, there's a lot of hidden stuff. Like, if you don't have a strategy guide the first time you play it, you're probably going to get the bad ending.
Wow.
Because, like, the whole thing is... You're in a meat factory,
yeah,
and you're a slave, and you have to rescue all the other slaves. if you don't go into any of the hidden areas, you're probably going to get about 30 of the 99 there are.
Damn.
And you have to get at least half of them to get the good ending.
Damn.
And some of them are just not impossible. Obviously, it's possible to get all 99 of them, but it's insanely hard. Like, only the last time I played, which was a few years ago, was the first time I actually got the good ending. Because, like, I remembered where enough of the hidden ones were, and I got, like, 50-something of them. So just over half of them, which is what you need to get the good ending. It's like, this game is fucking evil.
And that's one we still want to do at some point on...
I would like to. It's just kind of a pain in the ass to record it, because it's, like, Windows 98.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll figure something out.
It forces, like, 640 resolution, and I found out you can actually record it with OBS. Oh. It just fucks up the cutscenes a little bit. Like, it makes them, like, really, really lag for whatever reason.
Strange.
So that would be an issue. Okay. But yeah, we can record it just fine. I actually did a test recording just out of curiosity not too long ago, because I never had OBS the other times I tried to record it. I tried to do it with Fraps, and Fraps just does not like it.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a game that I would like to play. Like, I mean,
there is
I have
actually
it, I just haven't gotten to it.
It was originally on the PlayStation, I think, and they ported it to PC.
Yeah.
So if we really want to, we could emulate like the PlayStation version or something like that. But I don't know the controls for the PlayStation version, and it's really weird. Like, I actually think, like, people complained about the PC version being, like, different. I love the PC version.
Huh.
Like, from what I've seen, because it's... You have, like... You have to talk to characters, and there's, like... The number keys, like, 1 through 0 are, like, commands like, hello, follow me, wait, and then there's, like, different whistles and stuff. I felt like that was a lot easier to do with just the number keys versus, like, it's like, hold right trigger and press X to say this. Hold left trigger and press this to say that. It's like, I would never remember all that. Like, for me, it's always going to be 1 is follow me, or 1 is hello, 2 is follow me, 3 is wait, 4 is, I forget what 4 is. 4 is, like, not one that you actually use, I don't think, but the point is, the PC version is better. Yeah. And it's actually one of the first, like, PC games I remember getting into.
Huh.
Like, it also has a nostalgia factor to me.
Fair.
Like, I mean, I played, like, little kid games like Jumpstart and all that stuff, but this was, like, the first game I remember actually playing.
Okay.
And I was like probably like 7 or 8.
We could always like pick up a copy of the PlayStation version, because it's not an expensive game. I've seen it around the shop for like, I want to say maybe $10.
Yeah, it's not,
because by the time we get to it, we might have a capture card.
Probably,
so.
But even still, just like, I don't like the idea of the control. Like, I'm familiar with the game, but not that version of the controls.
Yeah, I get you.
So I would, if I was going to be doing it, which I expect I probably would be doing most of it, because I know it.
Yeah, because you know
it
it so
I know
well.
what to expect from what areas and all that. It's just, I would have to be on the computer, like, with the keyboard controls, because it's like, I know, like, my natural finger placement. Like, I'm actually kind of doing it right now. It's like Shift, Z, and X, and space, and the arrow keys. Like there's no WASD, actually, which is weird. It's like, it's platformer controls with the arrow keys and everything like that, and it works for that game.
You actually see that in a lot of games where they use the arrow keys and then, like
Z and X
stuff
to do things. Yeah, like... And it's kind of funny, too, because, like, I didn't realize at the time, until actually pretty in the last few years, I think, that it was a PlayStation port. So, like, I would see prompts to use X for things, and I would actually use... It actually maps to X, like, on the keyboard. So it just always made sense to me that, oh, okay, X is there. It makes sense because that's where my finger goes. But I think it's actually like a leftover from the PlayStation port where it's like X is to do certain things.
That's funny.
I was like, huh, that makes a little more sense now. So, but yeah, that was what ended up being like one of my first PC games.
I've heard Oddworld Stranger's Wrath is a pretty good one, but it's like really different.
Yeah,
from the other
from
ones.
what I've heard, it's not like, it's a lot darker and more serious.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I mean, the first Oddworld game is generally more serious. There's not a lot of like the dark humor that I liked from the second one, actually. and the second one had a lot more like cutscenes and animations and voice acting and stuff, and that can be either a good thing or a bad thing depending on how well it's handled. I think they did it really well.
Okay.
Like, I like the second one a lot more than the first one for a lot of reasons, and that's one of them. Like, I was actually... I told you about the video that I'm slowly working on about the sequels that are better.
Yeah.
That's like number 2 on my list or something like that, is Abe's Exodus versus Abe's Odyssey. Like, I like Abe's Odyssey. Just the second one is that much better that it's just like, wow, this is a lot better. Even though the first one was really good, the second one's actually better. And then the third one is just like, I acknowledge it, I don't like it. Like, I admire them for trying to do something different to take full advantage of the Xbox. It just doesn't quite work.
I get you. Fair enough.
So yeah, for purposes of this discussion, I'll say Oddworld is like my number 1.
Yeah, well, at least it's the first one that's just like, this comes to mind.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Like, every time I recite this list, something else will be, like, number 1, 2, and 3. It's just like, that's that one, then that's that one, and that's that one.
I can kind of be the same way. Like, generally, I want to say, like, my top 3 are pretty consistently, like, Tactics, Musashi, and Mega Man. Because...
Any particular Mega Man, or just the series in general?
Specifically X4, and I think that's mostly just the nostalgia of, like, this is the game I grew up playing. This is... If I were to ever try to speedrun a game, it would be Mega Man X4. Like, I know the pathing, I'm just not very good at it.
Yeah.
But, one that, like, it's probably in at least my top 20, if not my top 10, but, a game that I just appreciate for how good it is Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking love that game.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, like, epic and grand, but it's, like, really simple. Like, there's not actually a lot you do in the game. It's go find Colossus, climb Colossus, stab Colossus, repeat. But, and, like, the world itself is really empty, but there's still, like, a lot of depth to it.
Yeah. Like,
it's a very interesting game.
I could probably spend, like, hours just riding the horse around that world and just, like, appreciating how much... Like, for how simple it is, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, if it had come out this year on one of the... Like, on the PS4 with that kind of graphical capability, it would be Game of the Year on graphics alone. Like, nobody would even mention, oh yeah, there's a detailed backstory and there's these monsters. Yeah, look at that mountain!
Yeah.
See that mountain? From here, I can see individual blades of grass on that mountain.
Yeah, it's a very pretty game.
And, like, graphics are not usually one of the things I give a lot of weight to when, like, judging a game.
Right. Yeah, for me, like, as long as they don't hinder the experience.
It's as long as it's not where the budget clearly all went to.
Yeah, like, so there's some games where it's like, they're super pretty, and that's all it is. Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah.
There's other games where it's like, they just look so bad. Like, it distracts you from the gameplay itself.
Exactly. Like, there needs to be a balance, and graphics are like their own side of the scale, and then mechanics are like the other side.
Yeah.
If one side is either too good or too bad compared to the other side, it's noticeable, and it detracts from the experience.
Yeah, as long as everything's, like, in balance, it's fine. But if there's, like, a definite shift of, like, oh, this is...
It's like, wow, this game's absolutely beautiful. How do I even jump?
Yeah.
Or, like, just something simple as that. It's just, like, I don't get it.
Yeah. But, one thing that I would like to do, whenever we get around to playing Shadow of the Colossus, like, hopefully we'll get a capture card soon and be able to do that.
One that actually works.
Yeah. But, yeah, one thing I do want to, like, re-look up and kind of, like, delve into is there was a thing I found a while back where someone had analyzed, like, all the different theories about the story. Because the story, it doesn't really tell you much. It's like, you're this guy, there's this girl, no idea what the relation is. You're in this forbidden land talking to this ancient god
and you want to bring
get
her
her
back to
revive.
life.
But you don't know, like, really why.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, like, a bunch of different theories that go into, like, the details on that. And this thing I actually found it on, like, GameFAQs. And I might even have it saved on my desktop, actually. But, he goes through, like, a couple of the different theories and then kind of, like, has his own theory, which is, like, takes bits and pieces from the others and puts them together into this, like, really, like, that actually makes a lot of sense kind of thing. Because one of the things that's talked about is, like, well, like, he's obviously some kind of warrior or something from this tribe because, like, he knows how to wield a sword, he's good with a bow, he can stand on top of the horse while riding, and that horse is huge compared to him. Like, that is no small horse. And he can stand atop that horse and fire off arrows no problem. So, there's clearly a close relationship with the horse, and clearly, like, he's trained.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so, like, why, if he's, like, one of the warriors or whatever, why is the tribe, like, after him? Why is he trying to revive this girl? And it's, like, there's theories that, like, she was a sacrifice or something, and he had, like, some moral problem and tried to rescue her, so it's interesting. Like, I want to read through it again so I can kind of talk about it in depth.
I think the reason they went after him is because he went into, like, the Forbidden Land or whatever.
Yeah.
Not necessarily... I don't think they know necessarily that he's trying to bring her back from the dead, but I think the idea is if he's going into this place that we sealed off, he can't be up to anything good.
Yeah.
And I think it's supposed to be, like a prison for the god.
Yes.
Dorman?
There's theories about that, too, where, like, Dorman was, like, the god of, like, the old religion or whatever, and then, like, these new, like, pantheon came into existence, and they sealed away the old god, like, this is bad,
they, like, broke up his power into all the Colossi.
Yeah.
So basically, at the beginning, he's just the voice, like, he can tell people what to do, but he can't really do anything if they don't want to do what he wants them to do.
Yeah.
But as you start killing the Colossi, he starts getting stronger, and eventually he turns you into, like, the big-ass demon.
Yeah, it eventually takes form within you.
Spoilers.
Or whatever. I mean...
If you haven't played Shadow of the Colossus by now, you don't get to complain about being spoiled.
Yeah, really. Play the game. It's fucking great.
It is.
But, yeah. You can't complain about spoilers.
And that's like not knowing that Darth Vader is Luke's father.
What?
Oh shit, I'm sorry, did I spoil that
for you?
We're not going into Star Wars again, I swear. That just came up as a spoiler thing.
Yeah,
we're staying on track this time.
As best as possible.
As best as possible. I mean, yeah, we were talking about games we like. So that was Shadow of the Colossus, which I would say is probably not in my top 5, but I really like it.
Yeah.
Like, maybe top 10.
It's one of those games where it's like, it's really good, and it's like really artsy, but it's like, I'm not sure if I would actually place this in my, like, top of my top favorite games.
Yeah, like it's
a great game, but
I would definitely play it again.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually restarted it, like, because I moved my PlayStation into my room because I got a TV in there now, so I was testing out stuff on it, and everything works great, but... Yeah, yes. I did start playing Shadow of the Colossus again. Probably won't get very far in it, just because I have other stuff to do. But, so, yeah. I've been thinking about, like, my top 3.
Okay.
In no particular order, I would say probably the Oddworld series, Psychonauts, and Portal.
Fair enough.
And one thing that I did notice that they do have in common is they all have dark humor.
They all have dark humor. They're all very, like... logic-based games.
Yeah, there's like kind of puzzles and stuff in them. Maybe Psychonauts not so much.
Yeah,
it's more of your standard.
Psychonauts is more of like an adventure.
Yeah, adventure action
style,
kind of collectible. Yeah, but there is like the dark humor and the just like kind of random stuff. Which, like I said in the second Oddworld game, there's a lot more of that. But it's the same kind of style of humor, sort of.
Yeah.
Because, like, in the backgrounds of, like, the factory, you'll notice, oh, there's, like, signs that's like, only 3,217 work-related accidents this week. Keep up the good work. It's like, it's funny because that's a bad thing, and they're making a joke out of it.
Yeah.
And just, like, in Portal, and even, and Portal 2, like, the Portal series.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of cheating by having series in my top whatever, but...
It happens.
It's the same kind of game, same, you know, there's actually more... in the sequel, even, because, like, you have the more characters and stuff and more story to work with in Portal 2. But there's, like, everything Cave Johnson says, basically. Like, oh, this experiment might turn your blood into gasoline. Don't worry, that's normal. Like, that's not normal at all!
It's like, what was the one where it's like, the bad news is, like, those of you for the, like...
Oh, the Mantis.
Yeah.
Like, for those of you volunteering for the Mantis DNA injections, I have good news and bad news. Bad news is we're canceling those tests. The good news is we got a new one. You're gonna fight an army of Mantis men.
Yeah.
And the whole Lemon speech is...
Yeah. The Lemon speech is pretty great. It is a classic, without a doubt.
He's dying and losing his mind. And that's probably one of the most memorable and funny things he's said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, Psychonauts 2, though, that game, like, there's the pair of kids that are, like, the cheerleaders, where it's, like, they're all happy and preppy, but then, like, in the background, like, when you, like, walk away, they're, like, mixing poison and shit.
Yeah. It's like, wow, really?
It's like, oh!
That's a little dark.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there's the entire Milkman level.
That level, easily my favorite.
That's...
in that entire game. Like, one of my favorite levels in any game. Because
yeah.
it's just...
It's just so twisted
crazy.
and crazy. It's just like... It's like, yeah, I'm going to a summer camp for psychics. Why am I in Silent Hill? It's like, that's basically what I kind of equated to. It's just like, yay, okay, there's some kind of weird stuff. Oh, Jesus, what is going on here?
Yeah, like, that is a mind that is definitely over the fucking place.
This guy has problems.
But, like, sitting there and listening to him ramble, hilarious. Walking around and the secret agents, it's just so funny. It's just like, oh, they are holding a flower, and they're just like, I'm a grieving widow.
Yeah. And the fact that you sneak by them by doing that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Just like, you are clearly not one of them, but holding the flower is the perfect disguise. I'm a grieving widow. Like,
I am your sister who is also grieving.
It's like, I am a sanitation worker. I am... I forget... I don't get the respect I deserve from society, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just like...
And, the one's wielding just like a rolling pin and, like, offhandedly talking about pies for their husband.
Yeah.
Like...
I make pies for my husband because I love him. It's just all in that same, like, flat voice.
Yeah. That, like, deep monotone, just... Yep.
I am an ordinary person doing things that type of person normally does.
And then, like, a lot of times, like, the stuff they're wielding, they're not wielding it right.
Yeah.
They'll be, like, holding it, like, upside down or something.
Mm-hmm.
And just... It's a fun stage.
Yeah.
It's definitely a treat to go through.
I need to play Psychonauts again.
Yeah. Well, that's another one that we wanted to get to.
That's on our list, huh?
And
then I definitely should play it again, so we know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah. Well,
not that it's that hard to navigate or anything like that, but just...
It's one of those ones that, like, when we were deciding on what games we should play, like, earlier, it was one of the ones that I didn't want to do right away, because I had, like, just recently finished the game. And
oh, yeah?
I like to, like, put some time between playing games, like, enough to where, like, when I'm playing it again, it's kind of refreshing. Like, I don't fully remember this, but I do remember it, you know?
Yeah, there are parts that I know I would get stuck on even if I had just played it. Like, there's the one with the bull, like, you're in the guy's paintings.
Oh, yeah. I hate that
I remember
stage.
that one being a pain in the ass, and the board game. I remember that one being kind of like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah, that one's just all over
Like,
the
it's
place.
telling me I need to go there, I'm here, and there's things here that won't let me get there. How the fuck do I get there without going that way? And it's just like, what the fuck
My
do I
only
even do?
issue with the Battle of Waterloo is it's massive.
Yeah.
When I first played through the game on my Xbox, I played through the entire game, and like at the end, I went through and I collected everything. The only thing I was missing was one fragment.
Oh, and it was
it was in the Battle of Waterloo.
The biggest fucking map in the game.
I had no idea where the fuck that thing was. Like, I don't think I ever found it.
I cannot imagine trying to 100% Psychonauts. Just like, unless you start a new game and keep track of absolutely everything you collect along the way, like when you're following a guide, I don't think that's even possible. Like, you're gonna miss something.
It's actually not too
and
bad.
You have to figure out, like, okay, I remember collecting the figment of the little girl holding a kite. Okay, there's the one of the guy holding the telescope or whatever. And it's just like, there's so many of those.
So if you go into, like, the game, there's actually, like, a part of the menu where you can look at the fragments for the stage, and they're in a specific order. So, like, if you're going through, there'll be, like, a blank spot in the middle of the fragment. So it's like, okay, I'm missing the, like, this number fragment from this stage. So it's actually not too bad, but, like, that level in particular is just, like, there's so many of them.
Yeah,
and it's huge.
I can imagine.
But, it's still an interesting level, but, yeah, I would definitely say if there was a level I disliked from that one, it's the bowl. And
it's because everything in that level looks the same. Like, everything has the exact same, like, art style and everything to it.
Like, for me,
everything's got, like, the neon paint and all that stuff over it, and it's just like, this
I
looks
think it's
like
an
a place
interesting
I've been,
stage.
but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't find it too hard to navigate, and, like, it's an interestingly designed stage.
It has been a while since I played, so it might not be as hard as I remember, but...
But, like, my only thing is, like, I'm not a big fan of, like, that culture. Like, it's my own culture. You would think I would care more about it, but, like, just that theme, it never really interests me. So, you know, the whole, like, the bull and the wrestling, luchador thing, like, it's like, I don't really care. Like, that kind of stuff is kind of polarizing to me. I just don't find interest in it. That said, though, some of the fights with the four...
Oh, the
four
wrestlers,
dudes, those are funny. Just my favorite one is Eagle, because he comes in and it's just like, it's Eagle, and he just walks up and he's just all caw. Like, that's his only thing. Is that, like, the other one's like, I'm gonna crush you or whatever, and he's just caw. And then when you beat him, like, Raz's thing is just caw. Yeah, little victory there. That game has just so much personality, and all the levels are so vibrant and well designed. It's great. It really is.
It's a good game. Why is there not a sequel to it?
Because it didn't have the best marketing and it didn't sell well. So,
but everyone loves it now.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, it didn't sell when it was new. But now everyone's had a chance to play it and realize how good it is, and everyone's like, hey, this game is really good. The people who made this game should make another game.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. All Tim Schafer has to do is make a video of him saying the words, Psychonauts 2, put it on Kickstarter, instant money.
Exactly. And we're not going to go too far into that one, because we've already talked about that. But yeah. Psychonauts 2.
We all want it.
Yep.
But yeah, no.
And yeah, the Portal games are also in my top 3.
Yeah. So, do you think there'll be a Portal 3?
I don't know.
I think
I can see them. I honestly can't say for sure. Like, I know they could find a way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they left it open-ended enough that, you know... I mean, they've kind of continued the story a little bit in, like, the DLC for Atlas and Peabody. Like, the co-op stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could probably take that in some direction that leads to Portal 3, but I don't know if I want to see a Portal 3, honestly.
Have you played through the co-op?
I've played through some of... I played through what was originally there. I know there was, a new campaign or something that came out.
Huh. I didn't even know that.
I think it was...
I remember when you finished the co-op, the whole thing was, you were finding...
you find, all the other test subjects, in Stasis or something. And there was another co-op campaign that was, DLC or something. They released it for free, of course, because they're valid when they do that. And it's, there's some kind of malfunction or something going on, and GLaDOS sends you to find out what it is, and it's she keeps building up, oh, it's this evil, terrible monstrosity, and you have to go and kill it.
Is it a bird?
It's the bird. It's the same bird that was, building her in the nest.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I didn't play that one, but I watched a Let's Play of it, and I was like, that's fantastic.
I think we should definitely play through that,
at least the co-op, yeah.
But, yeah, definitely just the co-op. Single players, we could give our take on that, but we definitely should do the co-op.
Yeah, but
I think they could make a third one.
I have no doubt that they could.
Based on the ending of that.
Yeah.
Really. But here's the one reason why I don't think it would happen. Valve can't count to 3.
I wasn't going to make that joke, but, in all seriousness, I'm not sure I want a Portal... I think they covered enough of a story in the first two that a third one is not only unnecessary, I don't think it would be as good.
I don't know.
They can only add new mechanics so many times before it starts getting okay, yeah, do this with the portals. I get it. And I don't know if it would be as good. For Portal 2... Portal 1 was just, a thing that...
Yeah.
It was basically just filler for the orange box. It's we need something to throw in here. Oh, yeah, let's get those college kids who made that one game to make a game for us. We'll make it... the only reason it takes place in the Half-Life universe is because they had all the assets from Half-Life ready to use.
Yeah.
And they just threw all that into a level editor and yeah, Portal. Let's record some dialogue and off we go. And that's why it was so short. It wasn't supposed to be a big old thing. Everybody fucking loved it!
Yeah.
Let's make a sequel. Let's make the story a little more expansive. Let's add some more characters. Not too many, just enough to make it a little more interesting. Not too many more mechanics, just enough to make it more interesting.
Right.
I feel if they add anything else to it, it's just gonna get tedious.
Too bogged down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's potential there, because they're good enough at writing, I think they could get one more out of it. One more. But...
Maybe.
Because there are other puzzle mechanics they could use along with portals that could work. It's just...
Yeah, or they could, because originally Portal 2 wasn't even going to have the portal gun in it.
Yeah. Originally it was all about the goo.
Yeah. And somebody actually made a mod based on that idea, where you have, a gun that shoots the gels.
Yeah, I heard of that.
It's I think it's called Aperture Tag or something like that. From what I've heard, it's not all that well made, but I like the idea. Apparently the voice acting gets kind of grating, I guess. But, voice acting in anything fan-made is probably...
It's not going to be the best.
Yeah. Iffy at best. So I can understand that. I don't... But, they're actually charging money for that mod. It's a...
Wow.
I think they took ownership of it or something like that. So, I don't know. I want to see if it's any good, but I don't want to buy it just yet.
Yeah.
Mainly because I don't have any fucking money, but...
worth...
Maybe. It's not it's it's $6 or something like that.
It's not bad.
But yeah. And I don't know anything about the story, actually. There's some new voice or something, because obviously they couldn't use anybody established because they couldn't get the voice actors for that.
Right.
Getting professional voice actors for a fan-made production is a feat.
Yeah.
I've seen examples of it done, I think, but... you have to be really, really good at whatever you're doing to get the attention of people who are actually involved with the official productions of something.
Yeah.
To, get that kind of attention. It's hey, yeah, I'll do some voice acting for your fan fiction production or whatever it is you're doing. You probably just gave the writer a heart attack.
Yeah, I know. sometimes like I see stuff like that where it's just like, man, how would you like take that in? Just like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
the one example that comes to my mind is the main 6 team when they were making Fighting is Magic. And
Yeah.
it got C&D'd by Hasbro, and Lauren Foss was like,
I'll
join you guys and do the character designs for you. And it's just like,
I'm.
sure, okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna tell you no. I mean, I'm not insane.
Yeah, like,
I wasn't insane. You may have broke something in my brain by offering that, but I'm okay.
getting that kind of like validation, just like, yeah, sure. Or there was I don't know who it is, just there was the person who was working on the fan-made RWBY game. And Rooster
and they
Teeth
got
picked that
picked up by Rooster Teeth. Yeah, that's like, wow.
And
Just
I look forward to that. But
yeah, from the like screenshots I've seen, it looks pretty cool. I
saw,
never really got into RWBY. I'm going to try again and start watching the series again, but
there
it
is
just didn't
a
grab me.
drastic improvement in season 2, like just in how everything looks and feels. So, like, I haven't watched much of season 2. Like, I've watched, I want to say, 2 episodes of season 2, and you know how Rooster Teeth stuff is. It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
But I would say, like, because you never finished season 1.
no, I got like 4 or 5 episodes and it was just like,
Yeah. So
it's not bad. I don't dislike it. It's just not grabbing me.
here's my thing with like season 1 and just RWBY in general. It's a cool show, but watching it as they're being released, like episodic,
Yeah,
is tedious.
like I have that problem with Red vs. Blue. Even like like I started watching the most recent season when there were like 5 or 6 episodes out already, and I quickly got caught up in like a day, and it's just like, oh look, there's a new episode out. I'll watch that later, and then I don't watch it, and then before I know it, the season's done, and I can just watch them all.
Yeah, I find like watching RWBY as a movie, like watching season 1 on the DVD as a movie, just start to finish without any like breaks in between.
Do they edit it together like that?
Yeah.
Like,
There's an option to watch it like that.
that's
So
cool.
that is the best way to experience it. And I think it definitely makes it like easier to get into it, because watching it episodic, there's some parts where they're just doing like development of like the world, of the characters, and it gets kind of tedious because it's like, okay, I know you have to establish more about the characters, but like there's a definite dead point between like episodes 2 to like 4 where it's just like, okay, is something gonna happen? Please, something happen.
Yeah, I've been like trying to build up the like mental strength to give it another chance, and I think I'm almost there. Like every time I see that, like, oh, another episode of season 2 is out, I'm like, eventually I'm gonna start actually watching this.
Yeah.
I'm almost there. Just
So you know how in season 1 all the like background stuff, like they were just like silhouettes, like all the background characters, like only the main characters actually were like fleshed out models. Everyone else was just like
it's been a while
silhouette.
since I tried to watch it, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, so in season 2, at least from what I remember of the like 2 episodes I saw, if I remember right, they actually don't do that anymore. Like there's actually like the characters have something to them, and they're not just like black silhouettes in the background, and it makes the whole thing feel so much better. Just that little change alone.
It's not full of lost ones.
Yeah, basically. But
See, that's what makes us different from other like
we're actually giving
writers.
reasoning for
Instead
it.
of being less lazy, we justify our laziness with the story.
Hey!
Like, oh, they're not random characters, they're just these shadowy beings. That's actually what they look like.
Yeah, no. Like, my whole thing when I came up with that was, okay, I want the world to feel more populated, but I don't want to try to, because I know I'm not going to be able to do it, try to draw that much stuff in the background. And I'm like, how can I make it like a crowd, but without feeling like I'm being lazy by just having them be silhouettes? And I'm like, what if they're like that for a reason? What if
Exactly.
like? And I came up with that whole thing just like on that spot. Like, that's brilliant. Like, it makes sense. It'll work with the world that we've established, and even like the world we established.
They could even be like a plot point at some point. Just like I want to see shadowy figure like take control of an army of them, just because like I think he was. Like, I'm trying to remember our own lore. Like he was one of them that didn't quite get brought back.
My whole idea was the whole process of like the scientists trying to like reawaken people who were lost ones was there would have been like multiple going on at once, and they have the first like partial success with Label Buddy, where most of his mind isn't really there, but he's a conscious being again.
Yeah.
And then while they're like kind of like guiding Label Buddy, like the whole scene I had written out was like them kind of like talking to him and stuff, but then like something happens. So while they're talking with him, they're doing other experiments based on that success, but trying to improve it. And my idea is that two things would come out of that. One of them would be the New Yorker, who would have partial memories, and the other is the experiment that goes wrong, which is Shadowy Figure, and causes the entire facility to get wiped out.
See, I always like I had it in my mind that the Shadowy Figure incident happened first, and they learned from their mistakes there after having like their whole facility blown up or whatever. They learned to like tone things back and eventually start having a couple of successes. So first there was Shadowy Figure, and then there was Label Buddy and the New Yorker, like in a close time period, not necessarily one first and then the other. That doesn't really matter, but there was that and then that.
Yeah. My whole thing with having Shadowy Figure kind of be like the last of them is because it wouldn't make sense for that much of the world to be populated by Lost Ones if they were able to like re-get the facility going and like have, you know, these successes start happening. So like having Shadowy Figure be the last one and him wiping out the facility and then losing all the data and having to start over from scratch,
that does make more sense.
That would make sense for like why the world would still be so populated by Lost Ones.
Well, I mean, even if like let's say they did find a way to reliably completely restore a person's personality and appearance, if there's already so many Lost Ones, it's unlikely that they're going to be able to do all of them like rapid
within
a reasonable amount of time. So having two of them is a huge success as it is, and they're probably only going to be able to do 2-3 at a time over years, and there still wouldn't be that many people brought back.
I suppose that's true.
But having everything destroyed does kind of put a delay on that, so it's an excuse not to have more characters like Label Buddy and the New Yorker.
Yeah.
And which kind of goes along with your improving art style, too. So, because, I mean, the reason you drew them like that was because, I mean, it's like high school doodle comics.
Yeah. Well,
that improved over time, but they kept the same, style.
Yeah, for some reason, I've tried to, draw Label Buddy in a, more detailed style, and every time I do, it doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. He only feels right with that design. And New Yorker's kind of the same way, I could draw him a little more detailed, and I actually plan on having a more detailed design for him for his introduction, because I want to start with kind of, his backstory.
Yeah.
But,
showing him as a human?
Yeah, little enough that, there's still some mystery to who he is, but enough to where, there is something there before.
He'll do that thing with the hat where the light is, above the hat so you can't see his face, really.
That's actually exactly what I was planning on doing with it. But, and then, as the series would go on, more of him would be revealed. He'd learn more about himself, essentially. But, for some reason, even having him more detailed, having that simpler design just makes him seem more badass. I don't know what it is about it. Just something about that simple design.
I guess it kind of makes him seem more mysterious.
Yeah.
I guess, because it's, I'm losing my train of thought.
It's okay. The thought train is not one to stay around the station for long.
The thought train derails easily.
Yes, yeah, it does.
As we found out. Because we were talking about favorite games and then RWBY and now comic shorts.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing for us to be talking about. Read our comics, damn it. That's a thing we do too.
Yeah, no,
we did it for a long time before doing a Let's Play channel.
It's not something like I would like advertise as much anymore personally, but
only because you haven't done anything in a while.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to encourage more people to go to our website. It will give us more motivation to do better and more stuff.
My big thing is just like, if I'm not getting any feedback, I find it hard to continue a project like that because it's a huge time devotion. Like between
so
writing,
that's what I'm saying. If we get more people,
inking,
get more people to read more, like if 1% of 100 people respond, that's one person giving you feedback.
Yeah,
which is better than 0.
Yeah, no, it is, but I don't know. Like, it's one of those things that I do want to go back to eventually, but I'm just not sure when.
Like every once in a while, I've been working on Spider-Verse. Like, I'm updating much more consistently than you are, but it's still extremely inconsistent. Like, I'll do an episode, and then it'll be like a month, and then it's like, hey, yeah, how about another episode?
Yeah.
And then it's just like...
To be fair, I'm still, like, completely rewriting the universe.
Yeah.
So, like... And I'm
I'm kind of writing my own version of it as I go along, too, because... Like, I've had some ideas, like, not in the Comic Shorts Dropbox, but in my personal Dropbox. I'll keep ideas that aren't necessarily relevant to your, like, version of the universe. Just stuff that I'm coming up with kind of separately that I might or might not use. Just like, hey, that's an interesting idea. I'll just throw that in there so I don't forget about it.
Fair enough.
And I'm starting to incorporate some of those into Spider-Verse now. Like, there was an idea I had about, like, the center of the universe's government being in a super weapon. It's like a black hole cannon.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I was like, that's a cool idea. So, like, my idea for the backstory, that's probably never going to get explored, but it's like, there was this mad scientist in another universe who invents a gigantic space station Death Star kind of thing that shoots black holes at things. And there's, like, a team of young, like, you know, like, Final Fantasy kind of heroes that just break his machine, cause it to backfire, and then it just disappears from the universe. So they're like, yeah, we beat him, we destroyed him and saved the universe. But the explosion, like, was a black hole, so it sent it into the multiverse and then into Comic Shortsia. So it just popped up in there, and, like, for one, like, there's more advanced technology in Comic Shortsia because there's, like, different universes and stuff that popped into there and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, everybody's just like, the guy's like, hey, I can just conquer this universe! And everyone's like, no! This is ours now! Get out of here! And they just basically take over and it's like, hey, we can use this for good purposes. So they, like, disassemble the firing mechanism. And they can reassemble it if there's an emergency that requires the use of a black hole cannon. So if there's something that threatens, like, all of Comic Shortsia, it's like, hey, maybe we should blow the absolute fuck out of this thing. Just as a precaution. So yeah, there's like some kind of universal council or whatever.
So that raises an interesting question that I just thought of. So our idea of the Comic Shortsia universe was that, like, it's where stuff that disappears from other places ends up. Like, if something's sucked into a black hole, if you can't find a sock that you swear to God was on your bed... It's
probably floating around in orbit around one of the versions of Earth.
Yeah, like, it's, you know, it's popped into the universe. So what happens to stuff that gets lost in Comic Shortsia? Where does that go?
It depends. I guess it depends on how it gets lost. Like, if you open up a portal out into the multiverse, I had the idea that you just kind of get sucked back into Comic Shortsia. Because it's like the idea I had was that there's a universe, there's galaxies, there's solar systems, there's planets, like, in decreasing scale. Bigger planets have more gravity, so they attract, like, other planets and moons and stuff. Stars have bigger gravity, so they attract planets, and that creates a solar system. And you just keep scaling up galaxies, attract other galaxies. So universes also have different sizes, and therefore different gravity. So the multiverse kind of looks like a map of, basically like a map of the universe where you have the galaxies, but universes attract gravitationally. So if you're in a bigger universe, it has a bigger gravitational pull, which pulls more stuff in. So if you try to escape, you're going to need a fuck ton of force to, like, get out of there and into somewhere else. Otherwise, you're just going to get sucked back in.
Okay.
Which was kind of like my headcanon, basically, for our own universe is how that works, which is why nobody leaves ever, because they can't. And, like, trying to is kind of discouraged, because you might break the universe, and there's billions of people living there. You probably don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So there's, like, strict restrictions on how to experiment with extra universal transportation. Basically, don't do it. And if you see somebody trying, tell somebody, because they might break the universe. Because it's an unstable universe, and it's really huge, so you don't want to accidentally pop the bubble.
Yeah. That's actually an interesting idea.
And then
we
have like the Shadow World and the Demon World.
Yeah.
Those are just kind of like little universes that are kind of in orbit, so it's easy to get into them without causing too much difficulty. But if you try to if you pop out of them, you're just gonna get pulled back around into Comic Shortsy again.
Yeah, no, I kind of I think I actually had a sketch of how I was going to introduce the idea of the multiverse to explain it in the beginning, just so that it makes sense of what's going on. And the diagram I had, it's in the when I'm talking about the multiverse, I have little bubbles that represent the universe, and then the one that's Comic Shorts, it kind of looks like Mickey Mouse because it has the two smaller ones
I put something like that on the wiki. I made a diagram kind of thing. It's this is Comic Shortsia, this is the Demon Realm, this is the Shadow World, and they're all kind of stuck together there. And, you can get between these three, but anywhere else is kind of out of your reach unless you have something that might break the universe by accident, so don't go trying that.
Yeah. Like I said, I want to go back to it, and every once in a while I do occasionally, do a bunch of writing for it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, I want to, completely reintroduce all the characters, give them more depth, give them more interesting backstory and stuff, and I want to have the first story arc basically be how they all met, why are they a group together, and I have bits and pieces of everyone's. I pretty much know what I'm doing with my character. Label Buddy is planned out up to the point of where he crashes into Earth, and Zanshlou happens to be walking by at the time, and the dialogue idea that I was Zanshlou walks up, hey, are you okay, buddy? And he's how do you know my name?
That's pretty good. But yeah, writing for me is a lot more fun than actually making anything with what I've written. I've noticed I've been having I haven't done any on it in a while, but I've been writing the Comic Shorts RPG kind of story.
Yeah,
and it differs from your version wildly.
Oh,
because it's basically independently of your version of the universe, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because parallel universes, multiverse, and all that stuff. It can still be the same characters, but they met under different circumstances. It's just whatever.
It's actually really interesting with how we set up the world because all versions of Comic Shorts can still be canon.
Exactly. It's
even though they're all have vastly different.
It's how I don't know if DC, but Marvel has 10 different versions of Earth.
Yeah.
There's actually a multiverse to that.
Yeah.
And I haven't read any real superhero comics in a while, but there's versions where different things happen slightly differently or whatever.
The best example I can think of that we will both get is Tenchi.
Yeah.
You have Tenchi Muyo, where they meet this way, and this happens. Then you have Tenchi Universe, where they meet this way, and this happens. Then you have Tenchi in Tokyo, where they meet this way, and this happens. Then there's Tenchi Muyo Ryo-Oki. So it's they all
5 different versions
together,
of the same story.
But
yeah, that's a good way to put
it.
And everything is still canon somehow, because it's not quite the same. Yeah, but but that's the main difference in Spritoverse and Comic Shorts reproduction is the casting, because I've kept some of the characters that you've gotten rid of, and you've introduced new ones that I'm not using, and even the ones that you've just dropped completely, I'm using in a different way. Like Sammy, she was originally just the Samus character, and I made her into the ship's AI, so she still looks like that character. More so now that I did a little bit of plot stuff with that.
Yeah,
to make her like that, because I didn't want her to be Samus.
Yeah.
Which introduces completely different troubles there, but yeah.
And, like, those characters, like, even though I dropped them, essentially, I'm still going to use them, like, but probably more in, like, a background sense.
Yeah.
Like, because big thing I want to do was condense the cast, because I hit a point where I was just like, I had all these character ideas, and they just kept getting, like, broader and broader, and it's just like,
yeah.
I don't need all this. Let's bring it back down. Like, what's the core? Okay, Zan, Leko, Label Buddy. Alright, who else is important? Well, Taylor's important. Taylor fulfills very, like, specific role of, like, the thief.
She's the rogue and also the female.
Yeah, there's that too, but then it's like, okay, I want to keep New Yorker around because I like him as a character. I feel like there's a lot we can do with him as having him be, like, the badass, basically. Yeah. And you always gotta have the badass.
Yeah.
And then there's the new character I want to introduce who, like, I have a design for, I have, like, personality traits for. I can't draw her. Like, I had an idea for the design, and I had a friend who was doing, like, sketches and stuff, and I was like, I have this idea for a design, and, like, I gave it to him, and he did the sketch, and I'm like, that's perfect. That's, like, that's exactly it. And I'm like, alright, I need to adapt, like, this character design, which is perfect, into my style, and every time I draw her, something looks off. I'm just like, I can't get her down, and I think over time
the problem is you had somebody else design her.
Well, it was designed based on my description, but
and
based on my mental image, and it matched it perfectly. I was just like,
but now that you've seen an actual drawing of your mental image, nothing you do is going to match up perfectly to that because you didn't draw the original drawing.
Well, I think the bigger problem I'm having is just like part of her design that I wanted was like she's the kind of character that wears like shorts, wears like a small like cut off shirt and stuff, and
so you can't draw like rectangles for sleeves, basically.
Yeah, like I can do it with Taylor. Taylor's fine. Like I can draw her arms, and I don't really have any issues. And I think part of it is she has gloves, and transitioning from the arm to the hand, like that wrist area, is weird for me, like, without there being anything there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because, like, there's always something there, usually. It's either, like, a sleeve, or the character, like, has gloves, so there's something
like a clear
there.
Difference in,
yeah.
It's like you're drawing a different thing. Like, you have the arm, and then the hand.
Yeah.
Whereas the arm going into the hand makes it weird.
Yeah, but the other issue I have is the legs. I've never really drawn bare legs. Like, that's not a character trait I've given a character before. So having legs that are, like, bare, and then I don't know what to do with her feet. Because I'm like, should she wear shoes? But that doesn't really match with the rest of her outfit. It kind of, like, looks weird. But I don't want to, like, I've been really debating on just making her a barefoot character, or, like, wearing socks.
Just socks?
Just socks.
Well, I think from what you told me, she's like the crazy kind of psycho, like, weird character.
If I had to compare her to any character you would know, Haruko from Fully Cooley.
Maybe socks wouldn't necessarily be that out of place then. Cause,
it wouldn't be.
Nobody wants to go around... I cannot think of anybody who would go around wearing socks. Like, barefoot or with socks and shoes. Or sandals. But not just socks. Like, that's just... I can't even comprehend somebody who would go around everywhere wearing socks.
Yeah.
Like, if you step in something, it's basically part of the sock now. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely wanted to fill the crazy role. Because I always use myself for that. It was like, alright, I need someone to be crazy. I'll just use my character for it, because I just use my character as a catch-all. I want a dedicated character to be, like, the one that's a little off. Like, delightfully insane. But I also wanted her to fill, like, the fan service-y portion, because I wanted to use her for, like, promotional stuff. Because I think it's nice to have a character like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird.
Yeah, I mean...
But... So far, the only character we really have for that is Taylor. And, like, I don't mind doing it with Taylor, but it doesn't really fit her.
Yeah, she's not really crazy. She's just kind of... Like, I could see her being a little bit eccentric at certain times, depending on the situation, but generally she's... like more.
Interestingly, I'm sure me and you both have a different way of how we want to write Taylor.
Yeah, like just like the writing in general. Sometimes, like
Yeah,
I think that's what I've been having a lot of fun writing the Comic Towards RPG my way is because I get to develop the characters differently.
Yeah.
Than I'm sure you would have. Because like with comics, Spriteoverse, I'm using the characters as we've already developed them.
yeah,
Like, there's not really there's an origin story for the situation, like, they bought the ship, they're going into space and having adventures there. But all the characters, you pretty much have to know them already to get, like, everything that's going on. Like, why is it funny that Label Buddy's getting hurt again? Why is it funny that the computer thinks he's, like, a ninja or something? It's just, like, you wouldn't really get that unless you're already familiar with the, like, characters and everything.
Yeah.
But when I'm writing, like, what I've written for the Comic Towards RPG... I'm writing it from Zan showing up in Comic Shortsia, and you don't know anything about him or any of the other characters. They show up as they get introduced, and that's how you learn about the universe and everything like that. And I get to develop them my way.
Yeah.
So Zan starts out like, what the fuck? What's going on? Why am I here? What's happening? Who's that? Why does she have swords? Why is she killing that monster? Why are there monsters?
Yeah.
And it just kind of goes from there and you learn about it as Zan learns about it, so he kind of ends up being the main character in that case.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same direction I was taking Reproductions, just, like, in a slightly different way, because I think you had it, like, you have it more set in, like, the RPG mindset, where I have it
where you
more
have to
set
tell
in
the story from the beginning, otherwise, it's like, what the fuck's going on? Why are these characters here? Why do they all look different?
Yeah.
Why do they not look like they belong together? I mean, even for an RPG, that's kind of pushing it. Because, I mean...
Whereas, like, I have it kind of set in the mindset of, like, more, I guess, like, towards, like, the cinematic way of presenting it, of, like, you know, like, it presents you, like, the universe, so you understand it, and, like, then, like, here's this character. Here's why this character becomes like this, because that was my biggest thing, is, like, okay, I know what I want to do with Zanshlou, like, character-wise, like, personality and stuff, but how do I want to transition from, like, showing up in this world that he just, like, what's going on, to deciding to basically become, like, an urban ninja, like, doing parkour and stuff. Like, how do I transition that? I'm like, point A, point C. What do I do for B? And I figured out how I want to do it, and I figured out what I want to do for character, like, motivations and stuff. It's just getting it down on paper. But, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, the way I wrote, like, his reasoning for becoming a ninja, basically, it's mostly just Taylor fucking with him. Like, she meets him, and she thinks he's a real ninja, because, like, he just appeared. And,
yeah,
like,
it looks like
and
one.
she saves him from a monster or whatever, and she thinks he's a real ninja, so she's like, well, where's your sword? What's going on? Why aren't you fighting that thing, or whatever? And he's like, I'm not a real ninja. And she's like, oh, do you want to be? And she basically, like, she just basically bullshits him into, like, thinking everything she makes him do is ninja training, because
that's funny.
She's like, dressed kind of like ninja-like, so he's like,
Yeah.
oh, so, I mean, you're jumping around fighting with swords, you must be a real ninja. Teach me your ways! And he's like, oh, okay, I mean, go climb that tree. And he's like, oh, okay. And
that's funny.
And that kind of also, like, in the RPG mindset, teaches you some game mechanics, like, oh, this is how you run around, this is how you climb ladders, and this is how you open chests and all that stuff. So it still fits with that, even though it's just Taylor, like, kind of, like, jerking him around, like, yeah, you need a ninja name. Think of a good ninja name. Zanshlou. She's like, really? That's all you got?
That's funny.
And so you never actually learn his real name, and it's just like everything he becomes is basically an extension of her just like
messing with him.
Yeah.
Like, my thing to cover, like, the weird name was that it would be like an alias, basically. Like, he doesn't want to go by his own name out of the idea of, like, this is still just a dream. Like, not fully accepting that, like, everything from previous life is gone. So it's just kind of like, and that's, like, why he decides to keep the mask. It's just, like, it's God, what's the word I'm looking for? It's, like, a coping mechanism of just, like, I'm not really here. This mask is here. This Zanshlou is here.
Like, I can just pretend I'm playing a game and this is the main character, And I'm
Yeah.
gonna wake up any second now.
Yeah, and I want to say, like, probably around, like, late Arc 2 or, like, Arc 3 is when I was planning on, like, shattering that and just, like, breaking him. Because there's nothing more fun than breaking a character. But, I really haven't planned that far. Like, first arc, introduce the characters, end it with introducing the new character, and then, like, the arc after that, I was just kind of like, I have a couple ideas, but I'm not going to dedicate to anything until I fully have the origin arc figured out. But my idea with Taylor, because basically when I'll play stuff like, say, like Dragon Age or like Mass Effect, that's like my go-to character for some reason. I don't know when it started or why, but when there's an RPG where I can make a character, my go-to is Taylor. And I think part of it is fits my playstyle, just the fact that she's like a thief, like a rogue. But what I kind of do with her usually is when I play those games, there's the part of me that's like, I want to do good, but at the same time, I want to get, like, whatever gets me the most profit. Mm-hmm. So I tend to, like, manipulate people. Like, in Dragon Age, like, I will manipulate someone, like, through the dialogue to get whatever I want from that character, and then I won't use them anymore. And that's kind of what I wanted to portray in Taylor, is, like, she's generally wants to do the good thing, but she's a manipulative person. Like, she's looking for the profit because she's a thief by trade. So she's looking for the most profit and will manipulate people without moral quandary unless it comes down to, like, lives, basically.
Yeah, that's kind of what, like, I imagine. Like, she'll do the right thing if it's really, really important.
Yeah.
Because, like, even, like, her character's existence, basically, is from, like, a short story I had to write in, like, middle school or something like that, just, like, just for something to be doing during class, because, like, 90% of the class was just like, okay, just go write stuff. And be like, okay, I guess I drew this character in my sketchbook, I guess I'll do something with her. And I ended up, like, creating an entire world for her, basically.
Yeah.
And then, like, it kind of connected. Like, I never actually finished it, but when I started using her in comic shorts and we developed the multiverse idea, I was like, well, how did she get here from that universe? And then the idea was like, well, there was this demon and he tricked her into helping him build, like, this portal thing or something like that. And she realized, oh, wait, this is a bad thing. Maybe I should break that. And then she does, and it, like, explodes and sends her out into the multiverse or whatever. It's like, yay, connection. And it doesn't actually change anything that happens in the story itself, except the end of the story is kind of ambiguous. It's like, did she die, or what happened there? It's like, nobody knows. Go read comic shorts.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of a sequel, but it follows other characters, too.
I remember when you showed me, like, the character design, and, like, you had, like, a couple pages of, like, a comic in progress, I think.
Yeah, like, it was basically an adaptation of the story I had to write, and that thing is a piece of shit. I want to start redrawing that, actually, just, like, as a side project or whatever. But, like,
I remember just, like, that character's really cool, we should use it for comic shorts. I want to say it was, like, episode, like, 14 or something. It was really early in comic shorts that we ended up introducing her in.
It's like, holy crap, it's a girl!
Holy crap, it's a girl!
What was like? Who made that video? That Metroid video?
Brentalfloss.
I was gonna say, was that Brentalfloss? Yeah. Must restore peace. Must escape. Peace in the universe is restored. Holy crap, I'm a girl!
Yeah, no. That describes all of Metroid perfectly. It's amazing.
Yeah, really. So yeah, and that's how Taylor became the first female comic shorts character.
Yep, pretty much.
So, what are your top 5 games? No.
Just, like, completely pull it back. Nah.
No, I think we're done here.
Yeah, I think that is good for the night.
But seriously, go read comic shorts and talk about it. Maybe we'll have motivation to work on it more consistently.
Yeah, I could talk about ideas for that for hours.
Yeah, really.
If anyone cares to hear about my ideas for a universe, let me know.
Yeah.
I have pages.
I want to talk about it more, but, like, I don't want this to be like 3 hours long.
Yeah, no. This would
like,
easily
I could
be...
have this character be like that, and that character be like that, but then your character would be like that, and da-da-da-da-da-da.
Get me like 12 more bottles of water and just let me ramble. I'll go on for another like 12 hours easy. So probably a good time to stop.
This is we're thanks for listening. If you've bothered to listen for this whole hour and 15 minutes that we're going on, we'll see you next week, I guess, where we'll talk about more stuff and maybe stay on track a little better. Don't count on it.
So here's what I'm thinking for test recording. We're gonna go to that stage that was cheating us.
Yeah. It was hell. Like,
hello.
it was like 2.
Get it? Hello.
It was like number 2.
It's not that early.
It was like 2 or 3. It was really early.
No.
Like, you mean the one we rage quit on last?
No, not that one. I want to say it's 9 or 10. Let's see. Okay, it's 10.
Not this one. I'm pretty sure it was one of the earlier ones.
This one.
Oh, this one. Okay, yeah.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna totally miss the portal like 10 times.
No, that's the easy part, man.
I'm gonna get the key. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna fail miserably.
You want me to do it?
No, I got this.
If we can get to the part that was glitching.
I don't want to talk about it.
Is it lagging, or are you just taking it slow? I can't really tell.
I'm just retarded.
I think it may have bugged there, actually.
Yeah. I'm thinking that too.
Just stay on the left and let the platform come down.
There we go. So here's my plan, is just to ride this back and forth a couple times and see if it randomly kills us.
Okay. So far, so good.
I figure this is like the best way to test whether it's gonna be a fucking bitch-ass bitch.
Okay, that was like 8. I'm gonna assume 8, 9, 10. I think we're probably good. Try jumping under there.
I exploded.
Interesting. So the glitch is still there, but it's not as pronounced as before.
It's not happening just constantly for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and then the other thing that'll be worth checking is if it's going to be like messing with the video at all.
Yeah, like if it's all jumpy and disappeary, glitchy, buggy.
Jumping under that consistently seems to kill you.
I don't get that at all. Like, there's nothing on there. It's just like jumping into the ceiling.
Every time. That's so weird.
This experiment has been a success. What?
Yep.
I mean, it's funny now because you're doing it on purpose. It's not, like, screwing you over.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's just me being bad. But, I just kind of die a few hundred times.
Okay, I think we're good.
Yeah, we seem to be okay.
I would still like to know what the deal is with that. Like why Livestream was doing that. Like what
Right.
exactly the technicalities of that problem were.
Yeah, that would be nice to know. But you know, fucking whatever, man. As long as it's not gonna start doing it to it, fuck.
We could go to another level and make sure, because there was another one that was giving us issue.
Yeah.
But this was the one we spent like 2 episodes on trying to
Yeah, it was like back here.
Maybe that was
somewhere.
one of the earlier ones I was thinking of.
Let's see.
It was like 2 or 3.
Okay, that's that one.
I want to say it was 2.
Think so?
Yeah, because
Okay.
remember it was
Come back, platform.
death is the only option. Okay, so jumping there still does it, but just going under doesn't.
Yep.